From us damn street niggas, we ain't really comfortable with all of that thing. Like, you know what you're trying to say?
Do what you do, baby.
Yeah, I want congrats. I seen to come up through the mud. You feel me?
Real
Yeah, I'm saying, like I said, I used to be top. I'm one of the ones. When that nigga said he had a phone, his whole joke, and I'm looking at the screen like preach, cause I was on the phone with him. You feel me? So you know what I'm saying?
Speed another general to NOLA the podcast. You keep your body clean, huh? Yeah. Hey, instant meet Sunday. You know we don't usually do it on a Sunday, but instant meet got an OG in the building and we about to instant meet. Yo,
Yo, peace.
what's up? What's up, huh?
You have it, my brother.
Hey, so you wanna get straight into it or you wanna shout out your
Yeah, we can
people?
get straight into it. We
Hey,
can get straight into it.
why don't you formally introduce yourself for my viewers, you hear me?
Matthew Felton, born,
Right,
raised New Orleans.
right. So tell us about your upbringing in New Orleans, like what type of stuff you experienced and went through.
My upbringing was pretty. It was pretty easy, I can say, for the most part. I stood uptown for quite a few years. I stood downtown for quite a few years. So,
Mm-hmm.
my first journey, I was uptown before I was downtown. I stood on Chippewa Street. I went to James Lewis Elementary,
Mm-hmm.
and from there, my parents moved downtown, and then that's where the games began at with me as I started getting older. Started seeing a lot of things in the street.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I was well protected. I could say I wasn't in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time I was, but I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't doing anything in the street, but I was with a lot of cats that was in the streets, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you had a first hand witness of what was going on.
Yes. A lot of cats I know was doing things that I wasn't doing.
Mm-hmm.
My MO coming up, I used to be by female houses when I came up.
Yeah.
So I would call my mom and let her know where I was at all the time because she think I was running with a bunch of guys, but I wasn't. So I would call her and let her know where I was at night sometime when how they say try to get home before the street lights catch you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when the street lights called me and I didn't make it at home at that time, I would pick up the phone and give her a call, let her know where I was, stuff like that.
Sort of like a respect thing. So she wouldn't worry.
Yeah, yes, so she wouldn't worry. Because I got to think about it, I was young, 15, 16, so.
Right. Has New Orleans always been a violent city?
Not the way it is now, but yeah, when I was coming up, it was still violence, but I ain't gonna say it was more control. It was more of when they was doing violence, the people was going after who they wanted. It wasn't like it is now, just randomly, just doing all kind of, shooting and killing for I
Right.
want to say unknown reason, but it might be a reason behind them. But I just see things different now than when I was coming up. I mean, it was doing their thing when I was coming up too, but it wasn't like it is now. It was
You
more when I was coming up. It was more at the person who they wanted to get at instead of a bunch of innocent people in a way.
you think that it's gotten worse or it's just gotten uh viral? Like it's in your face now. Like when you and me was coming up, they didn't have all of this. You learn what happened from the streets, or you learn what happened from the news, or just the word around town. Do you think?
Right. Yeah, like when I was coming up, it was you seen the aftermath on the news late at night, or by word of mouth through a friend who knew someone that was out there, and when things would happen. But like right now, everything is viral. You don't really have to know nobody to get the information. Now everything viral,
Yeah,
everything YouTube out, streamed out. I mean, it act like it's more like a Hollywood thing, you know, like it's glorified, so it's all
Right,
on YouTube.
right. Do you think that that has a you know a direct effect on mostly the youngins, or do you think that's all on the parents' responsibility to teach them, you know what I'm saying, kind of morals and right and wrong?
I think it's both. I'm gonna tell you why I think it's both. Because
Let
you
me
have some people that don't do anything with their kids, and I've seen it myself. I mean, I ain't in no shape to say nothing because you know, sometimes when you tend to want to tell somebody something about their kid, man, they get outrageous with you.
yeah,
They mind your fucking business. Excuse my French, I ain't meant to cuss,
yeah,
but that's what they would tell you. Mind your business and stuff like that. But at the
yeah.
same time, I do see where you do have parents who's working hard out there and try to give these kids everything and do tell them right from wrong. They still go astray. I
Mm-hmm,
mean, I can't fault the parents for that. I mean, if they tell them how much they love them and want to see them do better, and they got the capability of doing better. I've seen some kids had the capability of doing better, but the problem was they were hanging with the wrong crowd. That crowd wouldn't let them. That crowd wouldn't let them straighten up.
mm,
You
the
know,
crowd, go ahead, OJ.
yeah, you know, you have someone in that crowd know that they have good parents because they went over to their house and saw their parents getting on 'em. So when they're out there in the streets, that leader tend to lean on that kid harder because he know his mama trying to get him in the right way. And he feel like I don't have that love, so I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
be testing him the most. Like you know, like to make sure he's getting dirty out anybody in the group just because he have that love at home. You know what I'm saying?
Facts, like he making them tough or something.
Right. You're trying, in other words, trying to break him. Like,
Yeah,
I know your mama love you, and I could tell how she talked to you and everything. But I'm gonna do I'm gonna do this evilness on you that you're gonna have to choose, and that's gonna break your mama heart because I know you're gonna choose to be with us. You know, something like that to that sort. You know what I'm saying?
facts. Now I heard you mention a couple of moments ago that it's different. Can you say what's the biggest difference from when you was coming up and how it is right now?
The biggest difference to me is, like I said, when I was coming up, there was more toward who they wanted to go at. Now it's just they don't care. They're just wide open. They don't care if it's innocent or not. They're doing by all means necessary to how they're trying to handle their situation. And sometimes they don't need that because today's world with all the social media, you know where that person at or whatnot. So why is you going through all the the ramifications of just doing innocent person things when I mean y'all know where each other at all times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
You're right. You're right. So you say it's a big difference, and that's the biggest difference. Can you pinpoint either the exact time frame or the exact year where stuff went to, like, you know what I'm saying, going to where it is now?
well, to me, like I said, I'm an '80s baby.
Mm.
And I don't think things start getting bad until around about uh I want to say about 80. I say between 84 and 85. And
I
that
was
and at that time and at that time I want to say that because you had certain groups of people it just started going off. Like I don't want to say no names because I'm not into saying names. Because I can name set a group of people who I can say where it all started, but I'm not liberty to do that because I'm not that person. We all know where we come from. We don't speak on names. But
right.
just like I say, around 85, 84, 85, that's when everything started really, really taking off for the work. I mean, I ain't gonna say for the work, but really start taking off to how they start doing things different in the street. Let me say it like that.
Facts, facts. Now, a couple of moments ago, you spoke on a couple of people that's not to blame, like the parents or like the grandparents. If we were to blame anybody, is there anybody to blame?
Well, what I will blame is the government. Because first of all, well, I say the government because you have police and you have officials overlook things until it get out of hand. And then once it get out of hand, then they want to make it an issue or they want to address the issue. Well, it's too late for that. It could have been stopped before. They know some of the stuff that go on in that city, it be brewing up before it get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't, and they were like, well, hey, right now we're gonna sit back. When they get to When they get past A and B, then this is where we step in at.
Facts. Facts.
So basically, almost more as saying like a little kid when they start making these certain rules, how the government wants you to chastise your kid, they don't want you whooping or stuff on that. They do that for a reason because they know if you don't whoop them, you don't have no control over 'em.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I got a little whoop. I got a little whooping when I was young coming up. I think it did me damn good. I appreciate my mom and daddy giving me a whooping
Yeah, and they used
because
to
they
say,
wouldn't have gave me if they wouldn't have gave me a whooping, I'd probably been more into trouble than what I
yeah,
am now.
and they used to say, whoop you because I love you. And I
Yes,
ain't understand it back then. I'm like, nah, this
no,
shit hurt.
I didn't
But
understand either. Yeah, it did hurt, but then as I got older, I appreciate the whoopings I got. It
yeah,
made me who I am today.
yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. So, uh, a lot of people down here are blaming the mayor of the city, right? In your opinion, is it the mayor herself's fault, or did she inherit this problem from the last mayor?
I think it's a little both. I think she inherited the problem, but I also think now that she's in there, I think she's just going by things a different way. Maybe because she's a female, and maybe I shouldn't even be saying that, because in our community we always say that the female is the softest of the two coming up, in New Orleans. I would
Yeah.
say, but
Sugar and spice
I
and
don't
everything.
know. Right? I mean, she's a female. I mean, she do things sometimes that looks looks on the up and up, but at sometimes she's just like. I guess you said them kids gonna be kids, and she ain't got no control and let them do what they do until they hit her front steps at that front office up there, and then she want to do something about it. So I don't know. Like I say, she inherited it, but I mean, I think still things could have been done to where it still didn't get out of hand.
Right, right. See, I think when we was coming up, like they had the task force, they had the jump out boys. We have a weakened police force. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's up to she can only request funds from the governor. The governor is the one that has to, you see what I'm saying, release those funds. And it's like if he don't do it, then she can't do it. You see what I'm saying? So when you
Mm-hmm.
see the government, I think that the blame goes to the different branches of the government because there's only so much the different branches could do. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
if the city is so violent and all that, they can't get no police. You see what I'm saying? Is it?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's because the city's so violent or that's just ain't the wave no more being the police. You know what I'm saying? But we have a weakened police system, so I think is not nobody to blame but that ain't no is a good cop is a good guy bad guy thing. They don't have no good guys to chase the bag. You see what I'm saying? They don't have enough of them and they got more bad guys than good guys. So and you can't engage because it's neighborhoods and all that. So is you is they weakened them, which made it more violent. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, like for instance,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been in that city, man, since 2005. That's the last time I stayed in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I can say this. At the time when I was in New Orleans, me and my wife, we had a house in New Orleans East that we own. We had got our house, I want to say about around in 1999 or 2000 when we purchased us a house out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it ain't about the house. What I'm trying to say, back in the early 80s, New Orleans East was beautiful, man. It was peace and quiet. You ain't had to worry about anything. Oh man, that East just wow. Only thing I can say, man, that East is like the Wild Wild West now.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. But at the same time, when you take the whole city, it's like remember when they tore down the Saint Bernard and they moved them in the I'm gonna say they tore down the Saint Thomas and they moved them in the Saint Bernard.
Yeah, that was a walk. That was the wall right there.
Exactly.
I
So
remember that.
when you put the like everybody in the East, cuz like I'm talking about everybody, and it's like it's only certain places that do the Section 8 thing, but not everybody's starting to do it because they trying to get out. So that's how
Right.
it's trickling into the neighborhoods. And when they bring their people around there, so they see how to, woo woo. I think that's how the East turned out to what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Yes.
putting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm,
I believe so. I
Uh,
think that's what happened to it. Uh, like I say, I haven't been there in a long time. I went there and visited. Mm, I want to say about 4 years ago. And man, the stuff that people be telling me be going on now, and I was like, wow, this is my city and I love it. But to be honest, I was telling people I think it'd be hard for me to ever come back and stay in the city of New
mm,
Orleans. It'll be very hard for me. I've been
mm,
gone for so long, and I'm at peace where I'm at. You
right.
know, so and like I said, I go visit every blue moon. I used to go there a lot, but when my mother and father passed away, I don't really have too much to go down there. If I have a few little cousins still down there, but my brother, he's out in Texas. I have a sister. She's not in. She's still in Louisiana, but she's not in New Orleans anymore. She moved more up there to around I-20 in Louisiana, like a little country part. So I really
Yes.
don't have too much to go down there for. I mean, I miss the food. Cause that's where I grew up all my life. I miss, I'd like to go down there and see things different, see how it changed, but I haven't been really down there like talking about.
It the
My
only
wife, she have a brother there out there. Every blue moon we go down there and see him, but that's about it.
the only it haven't really gotten to the better. Like the only change is it got worse. Like you see a lot of abandoned houses and like blighted property, and you know what I'm saying, just muggy in the east. It's muddy too.
Right,
So
right.
we always hear about knowledge is power. You heard me, but I won't ask you. Doesn't matter where that knowledge comes from, school, home, church, or outside, right? Where they say knowledge is power, but does it matter where that knowledge come from?
No, long as it's for the right thing, I don't care. I mean, but other people might care. I don't care where the knowledge come from. Long as it's for the uplifting of the people and to do things right in that city. Who cares? I mean, I don't care where the knowledge come from. Long as it's truthful and it have a meaning behind it and a purpose for the future of the people of New Orleans. You know what I'm saying?
Is it any blame to is it any blame to place on us as a community, as black people?
Well, we have to do better. That's all I have to say. And I say this to say that you have a lot of us out there in New Orleans are doing better, man, and we have a lot of us out there are telling these young kids how to advance and do better for themselves. But you just have some of them just don't want to do it, bro.
Mm. Mm. So you spoke on a systematic problem. Some people say it's choices that we make. As a people, should we make better choices, or are we starting off losing before we could ever win? And that's the reason why we making them choices.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, it's hard to win when you have a lot of those young kids that are lost, man, and that's where I'm tired because most everybody who my age or older, we
Mm.
already know what kind of life we are. Well, I'm gonna say like we already know what life is about. Some cats that I know was my age, they did steer off into that situation and was doing those things. But at the age that we are now, the ones that survived and still around, they're not doing that no more. They realized that they was wrong doing what they was doing out there, and they changed their lives around.
Mm-hmm.
And most of those guys that did that changed their lives around, they are telling the young kids about you know, the hope the fall the pitfall behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
They because they've been there and done it, so they tell them don't do this. I done that. I done been with people who done that. They done changed their life around. But it's the young ones, man. I mean, it starts to me where, for one, a lot of them young cats they don't want to work.
Mm-hmm.
They always feel like they got to be given something. They start off like this here. A mom and dad are giving them too much when they're young, and then
Mm-hmm.
when their mom and dad cut them off because they've been, doing treating the kids so good and seeing that they finna start spelling that ain't the way to go, and then start trying to show them how to get a good job or how to go about way of living for yourself to have it. They don't want it. When mom and dad cut them off from giving them what they was giving them,
Mm-hmm.
instead of them going to get a job and wanting to do the right thing, they go to the streets to do the bad thing. It's easier to get money this way than to do it the way my mom and dad was telling me. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And that's not all. I'm saying some.
So that lead.
You got some kids listen to their mom and dad, and I see it all the time on Facebook with cats I don't went to school with children graduating. So
Mm-hmm.
they listen to their mom and dad, but then you got some of the kids don't want to listen to their mom and dad. So like I say, some parents at fault because they're not upholding their kids for when they do wrong. But you got a lot of kids telling them kids about right and wrong and what to do. And some of them taking and listening to their advice and doing it. But you got some of them that's not doing it. I can't fault them parents if they're telling them to do the right thing and they're not doing it.
Right. That's facts. That's facts. So it's something that people see product of of you're a product of your environment, but everybody out that environment doesn't come out a certain way. Do you believe
Exactly.
if do you believe in we all products of our environment, or is it just we products of bad choices?
I think product of bad choices because, like I said, I ain't come out no project, but I came out the hood. My wife came out the project, and she wasn't no environment her product. She can't. She got a good job, successful in life. So it's what you do. I mean, if you in that in the, if you're a product of your environment and you see a bunch of things going wrong, you got the choice to change that, or you can just go with the flow. Your choice.
Mm,
You want to go with the flow and deal with that the rest of your life, you can. But you can be in that bad environment and you can say, I'm not going with the flow. And you can change it around and do what you need to do to get up out of that. And a lot of people have done that. But you have a lot of people don't want to fight the fight and think it's much easier if I go with the flow. If
mm,
I go against the grain, it's going to be much harder. Well, that's a choice you got to pay because I'd rather be harder while I'm trying to go against the grain. So when I get out of there, it's going to be easier.
facts. Facts. Okay, so all right. Is it do you think personally, this is just a personal question, in your opinion, are people from New Orleans conditioned to be violent and evil?
Again, I just think that it's people in different situations because everybody grew up in New Orleans ain't in the same situation. You know what I'm saying? Everybody grew up in New Orleans got different situations they're going. I mean, and you could and I don't mean like a whole bunch. I mean like everybody who I went to school with. I'm gonna say we was all in either maybe 3 or 4 different situations, but whatever it was, a lot of those people I grew up with, they doing good. I see them on Facebook. They got jobs. They doing right. They living a good life, having parties, paying their bills. You know, raising their children right too. So
Mm-hmm.
you have maybe 3 or 4 different situations, and it's the same like right now. I think it's all when you coming out of New Orleans because New Orleans is small. So it ain't like you got over 10 or 15 different situations because it's small. So you might have 4 or 5 different situations in that whole city to me.
Mm-hmm.
And you have people they go into those different situations and that's how they come out of whatever one of those 4 different situations is.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Facts. Okay, so you spoke on the you being lazy, right?
Hmm.
We used to say if you won't hide something from a nigga, put it in a book, right? So to
Yes.
speak, we had to read, we had to go out and get educated, we had to like kind of like get our feet wet, and now
Hmm.
it's just like you talk, you say a question in your phone, and boom, you got the knowledge. So do you think that the way that we had to learn is a direct fact, I'm gonna say, thing to you, to attribute what you were saying about the laziness because everything is presented to them?
I think so. I think so. I'm gonna say this here. I got 4 kids. I got one daughter and 3 sons. They all on their own. I
Mm-hmm.
had that one son I had to stay on them, man. He was the only kid I had to stay on so hard because he was the oldest one out of all of them. So by him having more New Orleans in him, because he graduated from Carver. But the thing is, he was the one more leaning toward them streets who I had to stay on out the other 3.
Mm-hmm.
The other 3, I could say, Katrina had a great factor on their lives. I mean, I think they would have been good even if Katrina wouldn't have came. But
Mm-hmm.
by Katrina did what it did when I got out that city, and education was different than other places I came, and my kids seen more. Oh, they sprouted their wings and took off. But that one oldest one, He's the one I had to deal with the hardest,
That's
man.
my dog, man. I'm doing it.
Yeah,
But
he
it's
the one
like
I had to deal with.
uh,
But I'm gonna say like that storm was a blessing and a curse at the same time.
everybody,
When I mean
all the older
the
people
curse,
say that. Why
yeah,
y'all
because
say
that
that?
curse. I'm saying this here because that storm was a curse because to me I think it killed a lot of people, man. But at the same time, it was a blessing because me and my wife talk about this all the time, and some people don't like to say things about this. Want people know this here. I'm a with all that oldest son, man. I believe if that storm wouldn't happen, I don't know if he would have been still here or not because of where he was going to. And that goes back to what I was telling you. I could teach me and my wife could knock it in his head or do whatever we wanted to do to make him right. He just wanted to be out there with certain people. But by that
Hmm.
storm happening, and we got out of there, and we got to a better place to stay. And he wasn't around all those people he was hanging with, and it was a different kind of crowd of people up here.
Hmm.
Type of crowd of people up here. He got his mind right, and he
Hmm.
got him
Shout out my dog, man.
a
Shout
nice old
out my
lady.
dog. You heard
Yeah,
me?
he got him a
Yeah.
nice old lady. He got a job. Now he got a kid that he got to raise. He got to think about all that stuff that he used to do. And I used to be, man, his mom used to be on top of him all the time.
I
So,
got 4 kids too. I got four
hmm
kids too. And I could I could pinpoint at each time of my life when they was born because they act like me in that stage.
right.
Can you like relate to that?
Well, well, like I said, I had like I said, 4 kids,
Hmm.
3 boys, 1 daughter, and he was the only one man his mama stayed on top of. I
Okay.
don't know why he was challenged or if he wanted to go against the grain. He always challenged me and his mama to things, and we was right down. We didn't let him get by with anything.
Yeah.
And I'm just so thankful for that. He see different now, and he's doing what he need to do. With his old lady, we got a little baby, but then the baby about 3, 4. But I mean, he's raising right. He holding the job now and doing what he need to do. So that's the
Yeah.
best thing could happen out of that.
See, my oldest, she the knucklehead because she was like born first, and I
Uh
ain't
huh.
really like have no sense. And like my second, he's smart. You see what I'm saying?
Uh
And
huh.
my girl, she kind of like swaggy. You see what I'm saying? Like she more outward, like more like I'm gonna say I ain't gonna say arrogant because I ain't gonna call her arrogant because I be calling myself arrogant because I knew where she get it from. But she is very sure of herself. She proud. And my little one that came like from me right now, he be chilling.
Mhm.
So I could kind of pinpoint each point in my life that I was in, the time and the time frame. I'm gonna say the frame of mind I was in from my kids. You hear me?
Right.
That's fire. That's fire. So I don't know if you familiar with everything that's going on. I guess around the world, the UFOs, the submarine side, the submarine thing. We can't say it on here, but you know what the world is recovering from, that we were shut down from and all that.
I just think with that submarine situation, man, it's
Mm-hmm.
a sad case. Them people lost their lives, and there's nothing we could do about it. But me, if I was a billionaire, I would have never paid that kind of money to go down there to see no Titanic. That's just me. But I would use my money to go do other things, maybe go on a trip somewhere else. But I mean, to each his own. I guess they had the money and that's what they wanted to do. But it's sad that they lost their lives. And with this UFO stuff they're talking about, I don't know too much about all that, but I just believe this what I believe in. I never saw a UFO, never saw no alien. But you got to think about things like this. But we not no more in the 1960s and 50s where they was telling our ancestors, our great grandmothers and fathers things, and they didn't know, and you know they couldn't see a phantom anything further than that. You living in the world today, man, where even though I ain't never saw no UFO, no alien, You got a billion planets in different universes out there and galaxies and stuff like that. And they got trees and water just like this planet here. You think they collecting dust? You don't think no life on all them planets out there? But like I said, I never saw no UFO no alien, so I don't know. I can't say it ain't real, but I never saw none. But there's too many planets out there for what the scientists saying, and those galaxies, man, and different universes, and all them planets ain't collecting dust. And I don't know what to say. I just think personally, at my age right now in life, and when I look back on everything, I just want to say this here. I think as humans, we've been lied to from day one about a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm.
So if you think outside the box and start thinking about some things, you'll figure it out. I ain't no rocket scientist. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm
Right.
saying is sometimes you have to sit back, observe certain things that they bring to the TV, and you have to start having your own mind about certain things. That's what I'm talking about, thinking outside the box. That TV will tell you what it won't tell you. You can't believe everything on that TV, you know?
All right. From you saying that, right now, all
Mm-hmm.
right, from being here and growing up, I'm from eight. You say you're '80s baby. I was born in '85. We was taught to mind our business, right? But from me doing this here, I got to kind of dig for stuff, right? So I went
Right.
digging. So I put common sense to it, and what I got out of it, right? These people is
Mm-hmm.
billionaires, right? You don't build a big, you don't build up generational wealth overnight. That's why it's called generational wealth. So
Right.
these people been to the best of schools. They didn't got the best of education, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
coming from New Orleans public school, nigga, right? We taught in the like fourth, fifth, sixth grade that you can't go that far down. That you can't go for that far down. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, what? All right, you got to fill out a form as like a not like an application, but like to request to go on it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We haven't seen no paperwork from that. We haven't seen nobody. You know how you like fill out a form to like I don't know do anything. You hear me? Like we haven't seen any of that. Three, if them people was worth all that money, right? Man, them people have so many high powered lawyers and so many them people will be suing the world. And they could do it because they got the money to do it. You think that somebody gonna be at a concert and going back and forth with a rapper and this his billionaire uncle is what I'm saying supposed to be exploded? You wanna know what I think? Just like you said, they got all them new planets and all them. Now they've been going to the moon and all that allegedly since the 60s, right?
Right.
It's 2023, right? Them people
Yeah.
ain't explode. Them people kited out on us. They went somewhere. We don't know if them people paid no 250,000. That's just a number they threw at us.
Well, that's true too.
Them people could have paid buku money. And then by all them being billionaires, right? People could have built their own submarine. You think they gonna go down there in a great value submarine?
Well, I don't know what the storyline to that, but in that situation, there's always a question mark in there because you just don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can be a number of things
It could
about
be
that
a hit.
situation.
It could be a hit.
I mean, maybe somebody on there that they might want to get rid of. You never know. I don't know. I know the situation is. I wouldn't have went down there, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. And not to throw a race thing into that, but you get
Nah, you go
our
ahead.
people. Our people just not gonna do certain things. We ain't going deep into no Titanic. You ain't gonna get us taking no free ride to space just to see the outer limits of the space. We just some certain things we ain't gonna do. We don't play in the deep in the woods like certain white folks like to go play with the big grizzly bears. There's certain
Mm-hmm.
things we just don't do. You know that comedian, not to go off a little bit, but
Go
like
ahead.
that
Go ahead.
comedian was doing a joke. He said, "We're gonna do some jokes. You tell me if they're black or white people."
Yeah.
And right off a hand when he was saying a joke, you could say white or black.
Right.
But I'm just saying, it's just some things that we ain't gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Like they
You know,
always run into the trouble in the movies and stuff.
right? It's just some things we ain't gonna do it, and with the difference of I mean, we both humans and we the same, And I really don't think nothing separates us. I don't know why the race thing even do come up sometime, but it's just some things that they do that we won't do.
Oh, this
It's
is what I
things that
forgot to
we
say.
do that they don't do. You know it right off hand when them news come on at night or whatever, and they start saying about this happened, that happened before they even say a race or
Uh-huh.
even get deep into who it was. We already figuring out who it is.
Fact, fact. And this is what I forgot to say. The Simpsons did an episode on that. Did you hear about that?
No, I haven't. I ain't hear about it.
Man, them people knew what they was. Them people kited out on us. Them people way off on another earth where they don't even get how they too cold. Them they in the one of them Earth 2.0s or something.
Hmm. I
Right.
don't know, man. Like I said, this we've been lied to from day one, so anything is possible.
Can you trust the same system that put us in the situation that we in? Or do you even blame the system for us as a people in the situation that we in?
Yeah, I could blame the system because this is what I see.
Mm-hmm.
I see this world's constantly growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing is we're getting overpopulated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you coming with all this COVID stuff. You coming, they're trying to maintain this earth at a certain number.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way we going, we gonna be surpassed that certain number. So they're coming up with things to reduce the number. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
ought to be a sin. That ought to be a sin in with itself. Y'all is creating stuff to kill off people.
Mm-hmm.
But they're
Yeah.
gonna say they don't know where it come from. Come on, man. That COVID was man-made in the laboratory. A lot of diseases is made man-made in the laboratory for to kill off this population, man.
Mm-hmm.
They know what they're doing,
Facts.
but
Facts.
at the
Yeah.
same time, you have to grow with the flow and protect yourself and stay on top game of what's going on. Like for instance, man, they putting too much. Man, some of the healthiest food not even healthy for you no
Mm-hmm.
more. They messing with
Talk,
the food too.
talk about it. Talk about it.
So you have to be careful. I mean, I'm starting to think people got to start growing gardens around their little goddamn backyard now if they want to be careful what they eat
That's
because
illegal
everything in that
down.
store, man, huh?
That's illegal down here
They have a garden.
to be growing your own food.
Yeah, they do that for a reason. They don't want you to grow young. They want you to go get what's out the store that they know ain't
Well,
good for you.
it's not illegal, but if I think it's a certain amount.
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's this food, man. You got to be watching what you eat nowadays. I just saw on the TV the other day
Mm-hmm.
that Johnsonville just recalled a whole bunch of their Johnsonville
Yeah.
sausages, and it was all in Walmart. They was taking them out, but they're not saying why they're taking them out.
Did you
A
hear
guy
about the
got on,
frozen? You heard
huh?
about the fruit? You heard about the frozen fruit recall too?
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Yeah,
So
man.
what? I'm trying to figure out how is this to be? Fruits and vegetables supposed to be the best thing on earth for you.
Mm-hmm.
What they doing to this? So
Nice.
this is what I see.
Mm-hmm.
I see that they know the world is waking up,
Uh-huh.
and certain foods they're not going to touch anymore because we wasn't educated about a lot of food. Because I eat a lot of stuff out there coming up that I ain't know was as harmful as I know now that I don't eat anymore.
Talk
So
about
I'm looking at so they know a lot of other people know the same. There's certain foods that they don't want to touch out there anymore. So you know what they're doing now? What they're
what they do.
doing now is what they're doing now is they're starting to mess with the good food too.
You talking about the seedless fruit?
Yeah, the seedless fruit that's garbage fruit to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anybody that's out there eating seedless fruits, do your research. Don't have to listen to me or the young man that's on this interview. It's garbage fruit. That's fruit that can't reproduce itself, man.
Right. And I was told that once you pick a fruit off the tree, you got to eat it. You can't. It that's when it start dying.
Yeah, you need to eat it right.
So how
That's
we
the
got
that's the healthiest of it, huh?
the apples and oranges in our refrigerator for about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, that means it's getting old. Like you say, it's dying. You need to eat as fast as possible. If you're gonna get fruits and vegetables, it's not for you to pack it all in your house and have it for weeks. You need to eat it.
Facts, facts. You spoke on the kids not listening, right? Is that
Hmm.
a direct effect from the father not being in the house, in your opinion, or these kids just growing up, they got a lot of other stuff to like Google, YouTube. You see what I'm saying? Like we got knowledge from our parents, right? They
Hmm.
some of that kid smarter than us. Cause my son, he 10, right? This nigga, he be coming with some stuff, and I be having to be like, I be shaking my head, like, yeah, but I don't be knowing what he be talking about. You see
You
what I'm
know,
saying?
this what I see with the kids that's what you say growing up without a father, right?
Well, is that to attribute to, like you say, the kids just not listening, right? Is
That's what
that
I'm about to say because you got a lot of kids going out without fathers doing good. I mean, you got kids going out with fathers that's not doing good. You got kids that's going out with the mama being the dad and the mother, and she raising them kids right. But you got
mm,
also some mamas that's being a mom and dad and raising the kid and trying to do and they're not doing. So it's that kids, that individual, man. I mean, don't
mm,
get me wrong. You got some parents out here that's got bad habits that never was raised right themselves, so they don't know how to raise their kids right. So
mm,
that's why their kids is in the household doing worse things what they was doing, and they plotting them on their back. Their
mm,
kid can go out there and still start off stealing the VCR, and he gonna come up and oh Jimmy, that's nice. Where'd you get that from? Mama proud of you. See, you starting that kid off wrong, cause now he gonna go and steal more, cause you let him borrow the stolen VCR in your house. So now he think he can go steal some more. My mom ain't gonna say nothing. She was happy when I stole that VCR because we ain't had one. Now we get
mm,
to watch something. So that's where that started off. So that parent, that mother is dead wrong. But you
mm,
have other parents out there that don't do that. They own them kids by doing right, man. Whether
mm.
they single parent or together parent.
Facts,
If
facts.
the individual is that kid, is if the it's like I said, it's them people he around and he don't know how to get from around them.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna
Man,
ask
I
you.
done seen some talented kids go down the drain. I'm talking about kids should have been skipped a couple of grades, was geniuses, was real smart that I done seen. And it was just with the wrong people.
That's why they say the best basketball player is upstate. The smartest, mathematician is upstate and all that because they got the best of everything in jail because all type of people.
Hmm.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Alright, so if it is a solution, where would it start with the youth? Where would you start if you was the mayor, right? And your first day, and what would be your first thing that you would do, dealing with the youth?
Well, what I would do, what I would do, what I would deal with the youth. Now, this might sound a little bit old school or not, but if I was the mayor of New Orleans, I bring a real curfew back to New Orleans with kids under 18 being in a goddamn house by 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. I remember that, and then that's another thing they don't have truancy
Because
and
if all them kids in there at 9 o'clock, that was most of the crime and stuff coming from them young kids. So if they're all in at 9 o'clock, ain't too much could be going out there with the other older kids. Then we'll have to deal with that situation. But you put a curfew with kids that under 18 back and got to be in the house at 9. If they're not in their house and they get caught, bring it behind the jail. I wouldn't throw nothing hard at them, but I would just bring them to jail. Let their
see,
parents know, hey, they're out here and they're not supposed to be out here after 9 o'clock.
mm-hmm. Facts. See what I
And
think.
then, but hold on, but add to that, once
Mm-hmm.
that parent come pick them up, now I'm getting the insight on the parent because if we stop your kid out here at 9 o'clock at night and you got a real curfew in New Orleans now I'm looking to the parent. Is he not listening to you or you just letting him do what he want? You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So then
Yeah,
that'll narrow.
we
So
went through
so
that.
if yeah, but I'm saying if this parent really is supposed to be doing what he or she said and this kid not doing that, then now I got to take another measure into hand of what I want to do with this kid to try to save this kid because
Mm-hmm.
he's not listening to his parents. He's still sneaking out and doing what he want to do. That
Mm-hmm.
ain't gonna be good. So what's the next deal I do? I'm only the mayor. Do I set up a program where I snatch him from his parents and he go to all boys' place where he's been watched for the next 2 years so he can to make him where he don't see them streets like that and he's in a special place to go to school and learn and then when he do turn 18 and 19 he graduate from that place so he's out of school now and he missed the streets for 2 years or how long it take from till he finish this program. Now it's up to him. If he want to go that route, that's just because that's just what he want to do. I
Mm,
done saved him 2 years with this program I'm talking about.
okay.
If that's what he, because he don't want to stay inside.
Right, right. So would you would that would be your first thing to do? So if if how I won't put it because I don't want to throw no blame on nobody. Starting with us, right? You said some people don't have a father, some do, but the ones that don't, is is it worse for a child to be raised with just his mother, or is it worse for a child to be raised without the father? If you get that question,
Yeah, I think it's worse for a child to be raised without a father. Because
why
I
you
think with a
think?
father, with a father in the picture, that symbolize something. See, because you gotta know our history. We was enslaved. Every
Mm-hmm.
time person, our people had kids, they separated us, so they broke that bondage. We didn't ever have no man figure in there. So that's been the story all the time. But for us to be having a man figure out there now, without that's even more devastating. So, yeah, I just think without a father, it's even more harder for that kid because he
Yeah.
don't have nobody to look up to. Because the man is the discipline in the relationship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
we don't get it right, ain't nobody else gonna get it right because the boys just look at their mama, take that whooping like it ain't nothing. But it's different when that whooping coming from the father. You know what I'm saying?
I always say, I say, once that belt stop hurting, then is and
Right.
that's
That's what I'm
when you
saying. It's because the mama can't get you the son when that belt don't hurt anymore.
facts,
But
facts.
the father
So
could because I know some fathers. My father didn't do it to me because he ain't had to. But I done seen. Well, I've been by some cousins of mine uptown. And they got a little too out the way. Their dad ain't there with no belt. Their dad had brought them in that room and locked that door, and they
yeah,
went at it.
yeah, yeah. You think you're a man? Show me.
Yeah, they went at
Yeah.
it. Right, shoot, you're right. And they went at it. And I done seen that with a lot of my cousins when I was
So
uptown.
so
So,
if right now, I need you to speak to the kids, and then because you've been on both sides, you had a I guess a what would you call troubled youth or whatever, and you know you old enough, you've been through enough to speak to the children, so you can speak to the parents on how to better handle I guess somebody in the street, so to speak, or leaning toward that way, and you could speak to the kids on why not to lean that way, you know, because you got the you know you've been there.
well, to those kids that's out there in the street, that's all I have to tell you. Ain't nothing good out there. It might seem good, but it's not. It might be like a delusional that you getting ahead, but you're not getting ahead. All I would say is think about the things you're doing out there and turn your life around. It's never too late. It's never too late. That's what I was told. I had aunties on both sides of my family, my mother's side and father's side. It's never too late to change your life around. It's what you want to do with it. I mean, you're going to wind up dead in the streets. That ain't the way to go. You got somebody that love you out there. A mother, a father, an uncle, somebody love your grandmother, a grandfather. Somebody out there love you. Turn it around.
And speak to the parents too, cuz about you know
Yeah.
the
Okay,
patience and
for those parents that having trouble kids, if it's too much for you and you did everything you can do, find certain programs. Or this what this what my family member did. They didn't find no program for those trouble cousins that I had that was doing what they wanted to do, and the mother did everything they could, whooped them and chastised them, and did everything they did. They brought them to the uncles. Let the uncles take care of it. You got some true uncles in the family know how to take care of it. I don't mean beating up on your kid or nothing like that, but they got some uncles know how to take care of everything. It'll get their mind right. I believe that.
in the last words, cuz
The last words that I can want to say, I just wish everybody here on earth enjoy life. It's very short, and sometimes because you may have a disagreement with somebody. That don't mean that's the end of it. You can agree to disagree and get over and still love each other. That's all I have to say. I mean, move on. Sometimes I ain't always right. I had people to tell me sometimes when I ain't right, and guess what? You got to man up and say, you know what, you're right. I wasn't right. I'm sorry about that. I make it right. So you know, life is short. Like I say, man. I mean, at my age and everybody around my age in their 50s, you got more time behind you than you got in front of you. So
Mm,
only thing I can say is just enjoy life with the family members that you love being around. And to every youngster out there that you see that you can give them a wisdom word or two, give it to them. I mean, it might go in this ear and he hear and he heed to it and listen to it, and it might go straight through. But
mm.
if you give it to him and a couple other people keep giving it to him, he might catch it. He might catch one of them. You know what I'm saying? And think about it. But yeah,
Last question, cuz. Do you think it's a lack of a accountability problem within us in the community?
I do think it's a lackability problem, and that's the reason why. Because people don't like you to tell their kids nothing these days. When I was coming up, the neighbor could say something, and the neighbor would tell you something and said, "I'm gonna tell your mom and daddy when they get there, so they know
Yup.
you got a double whooping." But
Mm-hmm.
today, you tell a kid something today, see that's the biggest problem. We need that
Mm.
community to get back together. Your kid ain't better than my kid ain't better than your kid.
The
The
village.
thing is, we need to get up underneath this and get it under, under reach where we can solve this problem.
Mm.
But you
Mm.
telling me, man, mind your own business. Just look at your kids, what they doing. Don't worry about 'em. That ain't the answer. The answer is parents getting together on these kids. And another thing, neighbors coming out and talking to each other. They don't have that anymore like I'm coming up. My
Nope.
mom and dad, they know the neighbor across the street on the side, and they talk. They ain't, neighbors that they in neighborhood, they don't even speak to each other. Some of them look at each other and just turn their head up at each other. I mean, come on, man, y'all neighbors for more than 5 years or even longer, and y'all don't speak to one another. If it's that bad, move out the neighborhood, go to the neighborhood where you can get along with your neighbors, your community. That is another thing to stop a bunch of this stuff that's going on. You got neighbors, man, don't even say nothing to each other. I'm
They
talking
be
about if I
they be
pull up in
hoping
my driveway right on the side of your house. Now I get out that car, look at you, and go in my house. What kind of
mm,
neighbors is that?
or not even look over there.
Don't even look over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the wrong neighborhood for you. Because I think all neighbors should know each other. At least you'll have an idea what's going on in the neighborhood. If I know four, five, I might not know the whole community, but if I just know the tight ones close around me, then they know the ones close around them. It trickles down. So if I'm speaking to like my two neighbors on each side of me and cross the street, then them neighbors on each side of me speaking to the other neighbors on the side of them, we have an idea how to get a grips on this stuff. But when you got neighbors ain't speaking to each other, man, that's another bad thing.
Mm. That was some game. The village is not like the village that the community back in the G y'all used to call it the village.
Oh
So the village is like
man. Yeah, my mom and dad was coming with us. The neighbors spoke to each other. The
mm,
neighbors and the older kids too.
mm,
The older son with the older son in that household know the older son in this household. They was all neighbors, the same like the parents what they spoke. They might have didn't hang, but they know each other in the neighborhood.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, right. Man, I enjoyed your cuz, you heard me? I'm about to grab a little bit more to eat and I'm gonna recap
Uh-huh.
this interview on the platform, on the page.
Okay. Appreciate it, man.
Man, it's all good. I appreciate you and don't make it the last time you on, yeah.
Okay, well I get on here talk again.
It's all good, cuz. Thank you, dog.
All right, have a good one. Peace.
You too. It's Peter Not the General to NOLA the podcast. You keep your body clean, huh? Yay. All right, we gonna do the recap at the finish eating, y'all. Holla at me.
I'm saying street niggas, we ain't really comfortable with all the attention. I know what you're trying to say.
Do what you do, baby.
Yeah, I want to congratulate. I seen to come up through the mud. You feel me?
Real.
Yeah. I'm saying, like I said, I used to be top. I'm one of the ones. When that nigga said he had a phone, his whole joke, man, I'm looking at the screen like preach. Cause I was on the phone with him. You feel me? So you know what I'm saying?